Okay, so guys, this is part 2 of this 3304 Cat and this D4d special application dozer. Let's see here. We got to get under here. Got to dump the oil. We got to get this nose off. What are those? Those are all 15, 16. Okay, let's see. Get this breaker bar. Is that nose gonna fall and hit the oil pan that I'm draining the oil into and cause a disaster? We'll see, I guess. Don't fall forward. Yep, that's exactly what it's gonna do. Okay, going back with it, okay. Okay, get the nose out of the way, and I blew about 40 pounds of grease and stuff off the hard bar right up in there. Now you can get to them bolts. I thought I remembered I'd had one of these apart before, and that you could get the pull this. I call it the lower pan, and then there's the plate, the pickup tube, and all that stuff mounts to. Then there's the oil level deal here somewheres. Yeah, we got to undo this right here. What size is that? Let's see here. Which way does the guy want to go there? I'm wondering if that's probably going to turn the whole tube instead of the fitting. This is kind of like a let's see here. Would it be easier just to pull that dipstick bolt up there and drop the whole damn thing down? I don't know. I'll go get a couple of wrenches and start messing with this. And if it's going to be too much of a bear, well, man, that oil does not look very good. It has got glitter in it. That is probably from that piston starting to scuff the cylinder walls. Probably a very good, yeah, there's quite a bit of glitter. This thing was not long for the world. Yeah, let me go get a couple wrenches and see if we can get this level indicator tube loose. And then we'll zip these bolts out here, drop this lower pan out, and then basically then you just got the bolts back there, and then you can lower it down and pull it. That's why you got to pull this nose off, because you got to lower that down and pull it out. Okay, so we got the oil pan off. We got to get these bolts out here. Let's get this pickup tube off of here. And let's see here. We got to get the oil pump off of it, because we're going to have to pull the now I see them balance shafts are riding on that oil pump. So what I would suspect before I do that, there's probably some timing marks that we need to pay attention to, because it's a 4-cylinder engine, and of course it's going to have balance shafts on it. So I think we probably ought to go get the book and just pay attention. That way, you know, we don't have a problem. Or, I mean, because them balance shafts are running off. Yeah, they're running off. This one's running off the crankshaft gear, the main drive gear for the oil pump. And then it's driving the driven gear for the oil pump. And then it's driving both. Then the driven gear for the oil pump is driving this balance shaft. The main drive gear is driving the other balance shaft. So we best be paying attention to what the hell we're doing here. I'm kind of walking into the office. I'm leaving all these books in here because I just don't want, these are not my books. These belong to the owners of the machine. I don't want to get their books all filthy and greasy and destroyed. So anyway, install oil pump. Put number 1 piston top dead center compression stroke. Turn both balancer shafts until the flat part is away from the oil pan plate. Install 2 3/8 course bolts, 1.5 inches long, through the oil pan plate in the holes in the balancer shafts. This will prevent the balancer shafts from moving. Okay. Do not tighten the 2 bolts against the bottom of the countersunk holes. Put the oil pump tube in position on the engine block. Install the bolts and locks that hold the pump in position. Remove bolts 1 to see if the balancer shafts are in correct time. Balancer shaft timing is correct when the bolt holes in the balancer shafts are in alignment with the holes in the oil pan plate, and number 1's on compression stroke. Okay. Okay guys, so here's our 2 holes right here. Okay, now that I see which holes they're talking about, and I see what they're talking about. These holes are threaded, and there's flats on the balancer. And when those bolts will go in up against those flats, okay, I got it. No problem. Pretty simple. So we got to get something and get the locks, get those locks popped over. And I don't really see the need to pull. Oh, well, yeah, you do. You got to get this. Or do you? This is the pickup tube. Or do you need to pull? That's the discharge side of it. Or will it drop down and pop out of there? That's just got to be an O-ring in there. That's what I'm thinking. So let me, somebody didn't put the locks on this side, but they put them over here on this side. Interesting. Let me get a chisel and we'll get these loose and get the pump dropped out of there. Well guys, I got the upper part of the pan off. Here's your discharge tube. What I had to do is I just couldn't get the bolts out. There wasn't enough clearance, so there's 8 bolts that hold the hard bar. As you can see what I got going on now, I got some 2x4s in between there and the frame of the tractor. I jacked it up on the nose there and got it spread apart to where I could get up. I got the back bolts with an extension and a universal, and these here underneath the hard bar mount I got with just an end wrench and spun them out of there. But okay, so I got a couple sockets, and let's start number 3 and 4 at bottom dead center. So those look like maybe, what is that? Is that the wrong size? That's 13/16. That's kind of what I thought. So let's buzz a couple of these off. See what we got. Trying to see where to go here with the camera. I don't know if that's a good spot or not. Maybe right here, maybe? I don't know. I'll find out when I go to edit and go, oh, that ain't worth a shit. Most of these older engines had machine caps and the rods were numbered according to what cylinder they went in. I'm looking here. Yep, and these are numbered, number 2, number 3, so that's the way they did it back in the old days. Can't believe how good them bearings look. Bearings look excellent. Very good, very good. So it's nice when they're like that, because then you don't really have to keep track of your caps. You can just get them off, because you know they... So just kind of keep a mental note that the numbers on the caps face the intake side. The older engines were just so much easier to deal with. None of this torque angle horse shit. Everything on this new stuff, all of this torque angle garbage, man, this drives you crazy. Why? Okay, so now we got to get something and shove them out. So okay, where is, I had a couple hammers here. Ah. This old plastic mallet here Dennis got me. Works pretty good for popping pistons out. Okay guys, there's number 3, and that's the reason I pulled it out right there. Not bragging, it's just experience. I've been through so many engines, so many years. Most of the time I can look at something and go, yep, she's not gonna last much longer. And that piston is sticking. Pretty soon she would have stuck in the bore. Look at this side. Big old notches and grooves in it. That is number 3. Let's pop this bearing out of here. I ordered standard bearings. I hope I'm right, because I didn't have these off. Let's look and see if they say standard on the back. Yes, they say standard. That's what we want. That means the crank has not been ground. Let's see how. So, number to number here. Okay. Wait, that's number 2. That's number 2. That ain't right. I'm looking for number 3. Like my hand with a hammer, my hand ain't working too good right now. This is number 3. Okay. And number 2 piston weren't much better. Number 3, lay it down. You can see number 2 here was scuffing as well. See if the camera's picking that up. It wasn't hardly much better, was it? Now this side here on the intake side's a little better. But this one was scuffing on the intake and the exhaust side. Intake side's not quite as bad, but... Well, I'm going to knock number 1 and number 4 out, and then I'm going to push the liners out. And then start cleaning up the block deck surface and be waiting for parts. Well guys, I spent a little time this morning building me a crude liner puller, since these liners won't come out with a porta power. And like I said, I used to have a liner puller, a pretty good one that I built years ago, and somebody liked it more than I did. Anyway, so what I did this morning, I got the hollow ram, piece of 1-inch all thread. I haven't cut it because I might use it for various jobs, so you might need different lengths. So I just ran the nut down it. I'm gonna block the light here. But anyway, and then I built this piece here. It's 3/8 plate, and it's got a hole in the middle of it. And then I built a foot for the actual liner. That's the hard part, is trying to get that centered so you don't catch on the block when you're pulling on it, because you don't have a lot of meat there that you're pulling against. Okay, so let's see what happens here, huh? I think I'm pretty well centered on there. Let's see how this tool works out. Cannot believe how hard these are coming out. Can't believe how hard they're coming out. Make sure that I'm not up against the block. 30-ton, you know, ram, you're not going to really feel it. Yeah, I think I need to come let off. I need to go that way with my foot a little bit. Yep. Let me readjust here. Just got to make sure we do this right. Once I get past the protrusion where it sticks out at the bottom and I get that foot up in there, then it's fine. But my other one I built the kind of a centering cone that would center my foot in the liner, and it was a lot easier, but I just don't have time to do that right now. So let me readjust here. Take the tension off there. So probably what I need to do is come up a little bit. Something like that. Okay. Let me go readjust it so I don't damage something. Okay, we made a minor adjustment. Let's Okay, I think it's coming out. Let's just double check, make sure our foot didn't walk over on us. Best to take your time on these. I mean, that looks pretty good there. Yeah, that looks pretty good, huh? It's a wet liner, so it should kind of come up past those O-rings shortly, and then be pretty easy after that. This damn light shining right in the middle of everything, isn't it? Let's look from this side. Look at her, she's coming out of there. There it is. There goes all the water in the block. All right. And the reason I got the vice grips on there, I was trying to turn the nut, and there's a little bit of bad spot on them threads or something, and it was turning the whole stud, so I put the vice grips on there to hold it still. Now I'm gonna have to clean all the damn water up so I can. So I think what I'm gonna do here is just pull the whole thing up as an assembly. Kind of a pain in the ass, but. And then take the foot off the bottom. There goes all the water in the block. Right where I need to lay down there. Cool. Those really came out hard. Most of the time, wet liners don't come out like that. Okay. So I can pull my foot off and then reset it for the next one. And here comes number 2. There it is, okay. Well, the liner puller's working really well, guys. So it takes a little time to get it set up and make sure that you're on the foot. You know, foot is, but what I can do now that I've got a liner to go off of, and I did this on my other ones I built. Most of the time you don't even need a puller on these. You can put a porta power on the bottom and just push them out. But what I did on my other one is I had several foots made for it. And what I did is, you know, see your foot comes around this edge here. So what I did, once I had my first liner pulled out on my other one, I actually built a centering part on the foot to where it would come up against the ID, and once I pulled it up, it would lock in on each side and center itself in there, and I didn't have to make sure it was exactly perfect, which I'm gonna do to this foot. But anyways, so this is a disassembly, guys. I'm just basically got to clean up the block deck surface and get the crank journals all cleaned up. I've got 2 more liners to pull out, and we'll be waiting on parts. So anyways, that's thanks for watching.